afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed judges, and Mr. Redkin. My name is Cooper Tolan, and today my partner Eddie Weiss and I will be debating on behalf of the affirmative side, resolved that performance-enhancing drugs should be allowed for use by athletes in professional and Olympic sports. As my partner Eddie has already told you, we will be limiting the topic of performance-enhancing drugs to only blood doping. Thus, any arguments brought up by the negative pertaining to any other types of drugs should be discarded. So, anything they say about anabolic steroids, you are not allowed to listen to. Now, the negative may try to tell you that performance-enhancing drugs are harmful to both athletes and the games themselves, and that allowing performance-enhancing drugs in sports would only serve to undermine the morality in sport and would give some an unfair advantage over others. However, this is simply not true. As Eddie already told you, both forms of blood doping, both blood transfusions and EPO injections, are perfectly safe for athletes when used correctly in moderation. Also, while the negative would like you to believe that every athlete is the same and the only thing that determines greatness is natural talent and skill, this is also incorrect. Currently, while performance-enhancing drugs are illegal, other drugs and supplements are not, such as creatine, nitric oxide, CLA, and many other artificial drugs engineered to help athletes achieve peak performance. Creatine, for instance, is a drug that occurs in the body, which when taken in supplement form will lead to increased muscle mass, strength, and endurance, not unlike performance-enhancing drugs. This is a perfectly legal and popular drug taken by many athletes and celebrities around the world. For example, Mark Wahlberg has used creatine frequently to prepare himself for many of his movies and even has his own brand of creatine supplements in his line of workout drugs, Marked, which can be bought at GNC and other pharmacies. In response to the negatives qualms about the integrity of sports and the effects that blood doping would have upon it, I would like to say that we are discussing professional sports here. Look around you. Air Jordan, Nike, Under Armour, Oakley, Quicksilver, all these companies sponsor events and athletes with millions of dollars in endorsements each year. So it's not like professional sports are for integrity now anyway. They are for money. These organizations are businesses and exist to create profits. The difference in coming in first and second could mean millions of dollars in endorsements. So athletes should be allowed to give themselves every advantage possible. Also, due to endorsements with various companies, athletes are currently not at an even playing field anyway. For example, Tiger Woods is sponsored by Nike, so he has to use all Nike clubs and balls, even if they aren't the best for him or just in general. In comparison, Cam Newton is sponsored by Under Armour. Let's say Nike releases a new cleat that is the best cleat ever in the world. Cam can't use it even though because Under Armour wants him to wear their cleats. So Cam is put at a disadvantage due to his sponsorship and might not be as competitive anyway. So, as I have proven, athletes are not on an even playing field currently, due to legal drugs, endorsements, and equipment. So why not allow them to enhance their performance even more to help them compete to the maximum? Under our plan, blood doping would be legal in all professional and Olympic sports and would help take sports to the next level of competition. Allowing blood doping would be fairly simple, as many companies already produce EPO as is used for cancer treatment, and therefore the drugs would be well regulated and safe. EPO is also relatively cheap, allowing all athletes, no matter their economic situation, to utilize them. For example, a set of EPO drugs for roughly 8 weeks of treatment would cost around $800 to $1,000. As the athletes would only need the EPO for competition, this would last them for a fair amount of time and is much cheaper than other methods of training, only available to the rich like Michael Phelps' hypobaric chamber. The next step of our plan would ensure the safety of all athletes, which is something the negatives plan simply cannot do. In our plan, because blood doping would be legal, rather than hide what they are doing, athletes would be able to tell doctors they were using EPO or receiving blood transfusions, allowing medical professionals to monitor their results and prescribe them the correct dosage of EPO for their specific needs. They could also screen the athletes for any pre-existing conditions that could put them at a risk for any unknown issues. This would allow all athletes to safely use the drugs and would allow doctors to monitor them and regulate the use. Finally, our plan would limit the use of other illegal drugs such as anabolic steroids. If we were to legalize blood doping, which is safe, reliable, and cheap, there would be no need for athletes to use other drugs, thus eliminating the dangers that go along with these. Overall, our plan is practical, reliable, and safe, as it would streamline drug use and safeguard the process, and is very desirable, as it would level the playing field for all athletes. Joe Canseco, a former outfielder for the Oakland A's and Texas Rangers, and an admitted user of performance-enhancing drugs, once said this about the topic, and I quote, "For certain individuals, I truly believe, because I've experimented with it for so many years, that it can make an average athlete a super athlete. It can make a super athlete incredible, just legendary. In professional sports, where athletes compete for millions of dollars, the difference between super and legendary is a big deal. It's time to change the game for the better. Thank you, and vote affirmative.